Our guest today built a drone business by saying yes to challenges most pilots avoid. He's the chief geek at Extreme Aerial Productions, and he's not shy about calling out bad clients, broken gear, or drone myths that won't die. From high-pressure construction flights to flying through 10-foot pipes, we get into the grit, gear, and growth it takes to thrive in this industry. On this episode of The Flight Path. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Flight Path, SDI's podcast on everything uncrewed aerial systems. I'm here with co-host Steve Ross, Director of Marketing, and Don Heon, UAS Specialist. How you doing, guys?
Doing well.
Great.
Good. How's the week? The week going all right?
Week's flying by. You know what I mean?
Don,
flying by.
Oh, get it? I get it. I see what you did there.
It didn't. It didn't land.
Don, our guest today, you have a pretty close connection with. His name's Mark Taylor. He's the chief geek at Extreme Aerial Productions, I believe.
That's me.
You guys do a lot of everything from survey jobs to film production, stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
Pretty much everything.
all right. Well, Mark, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, Mark, how long have you been operating this business for?
First concept was 2013. We formulated everything in 2013 was when I came up with the idea and was selling my mortgage practice. And then 2014 is when we went gangbusters.
Okay. Well, let's take a step back. What is Extreme Aerial Productions?
Well, I'm not going to give you the 30-second elevator pitch because it sounds cheesy. But
We got time.
well,
So,
thanks.
You got 1 minute.
Yeah.
1 minute. Okay. We are a drone service provider that is truly 100% customer centric, and it's through our customers that they have forced, cajoled, and in often cases demanded the evolution of the firm, i.e., we always talk about the number one question, which is, hey, Mark, can a drone do this? Can a drone deliver Rolexes? Can a drone do a gender reveal? Can a drone find things in the water? And from all of those, we never say no, but it's through learning from our customers. Like when you do survey, yeah, we all know how to do a topo and how to create a topo and do it correctly and ethically and give the client what they need. But it's the questioning back with the customers of how did you actually find value in this? What am I providing? How are you utilizing it? Which has helped our company grow, because many times, especially when it comes to survey, people don't want to admit there's a mistake. You're called in as a company owner as the fall guy, call the drone dude. Other expression I've kind of coined is when they say, well, the drone data is bad, I go, I can understand why you think that. What you're actually about to agree to is that the drone data isn't bad. You just don't like the news it's delivering, right? So it's through those conversations that we've grown as a company. So when you ask what does Extreme Aerial Productions do, it's whatever the customer wants that is safe, ethical, and feasible for a drone to perform. And we're not about grabbing money. It's not a money play. We get rewarded very well for doing a job we love and building raving fans through the deliverables. It's really about making sure and setting those expectations of the client that, hey, yeah, we can. Like today, for example, we're asked to fly through a pipe. I'm like, yeah, we can fly through a pipe. The longest pipe I've flown through is 1,800 feet. Yes, we can inspect it. When I show up on site, I go, this isn't what you told me. You told me it was a 10-foot pipe, not a 20-inch pipe. And you didn't tell me it was wrapped in steel. And you didn't tell me it was buried underground. So I appreciate the opportunity, but we can't perform under these circumstances, but I can get a flyability Helios 3 down here that will do the job for you. And they're like, well, how much is that? I go, it's not cheap, mate. It's not cheap. And they're like, well, if it's more than $1,500, I'm not interested. I went, well, you've got more than $1,500 worth of damage and delays on the job site and your burn rate. So, it's up to you. You let us know. So those are the sort of things,
How do you prepare? How do you prepare for those? I guess things that happen where they're not as open as you thought they were being.
You can't. You have to have an honest and open dialogue and be prepared, but you also can't walk into a situation where you haven't set the expectations. Here are the limitations. Here, while, my personal limitations of flying are this, maybe there is an aircraft that could do what you need it to do, but it's not in my wheelhouse. And you have to be very transparent. We get far too many calls from, oh, we had another drone guy and he said he could do this. And I go, well, now I'm going to look like an idiot because I'm going to tell you that you can't do that. It isn't legal in this airspace. And no, you couldn't get those results. And he's regurgitating a marketing material. And I'm sorry. And not only that, do you really think on a job that's costing X thousands of dollars that he would only be $200? I will not be castrated to that budget. I'm sorry. So there's a lot that goes on. And when we get called, we get called to fix a problem. And then we get called because someone has quoted them a price and they're not getting the right feeling, but they still want to hold us to that poor price. So it's a big challenge. And it's the same in any industry. It just seems to be in the drone space, it's more immediate because the burn rate on construction sites or in engineering or in public works is so great that a 4-hour delay could be $30,000, $40,000. So there's a lot of pressure. And you need to set those expectations. We also have a caveat in our company that we tell clients that we're very simple and straightforward and go, there has to be a simpatico between the two of us. As arrogant as my accent already makes me sound, I'm not being arrogant when I say this. If I don't like you, I don't want to work for you because I have to have fun. I have to be proud and passionate of what I'm doing for you. And if it's not going to be that, I don't need the paycheck from it. I don't want it. And that usually levels the playing field. A lot of customers are like, I don't really understand what you're saying. You're saying that you don't need my job to pay your bills. I'm like, correct, I don't. If I don't fly again, then I'm okay. My bills will be paid, but I'm not going to do a job for you just for a paycheck. And most importantly, what you need to take away from this conversation is that because I don't need the paycheck means I'm doing the job because I want to do it, which means I'm going to do a much better job for you because the motivation isn't the money. The motivation is pleasing you. And I'm not a person that likes attaboys, but I want to know that what I'm doing means something to them and that they appreciate what we're doing. It's a second career for me. I don't need to go back to the salt mines again.
Yeah, that's awesome, Mark. And I think that's a lot of the reasons why, we get into this drone industry is because we want to have fun. We're not doing it for the paycheck. We want to make a difference and we want to have fun doing it. With that, you operate in the greater Phoenix area and you have jobs all throughout Phoenix. What would you say is the majority of your bread and butter, like that you do like on a daily, regular basis?
So we work in here and in Las Vegas. So the majority of our business, it used to be TV and production. Thanks to DJI, about 18 months before COVID, when they started hammering the movie industry and Paramount directly and the rental houses with the upgraded Inspire 2 and then the Inspire 3 and pitching that a gaffer can fly it and it's better than a heavy lift, which is what I was started out in. We had to transition more into the industrial sector. I hate the word surveying. We need to get that out of our vernacular. Aerial mapping, modeling, is where we really got pushed, and then into construction progression, especially with COVID when people couldn't get to the job sites. And builders like Lennar were like, hey, we're spread thin. We don't have anybody. Can you go film this subdivision, excuse me, so we can get progress? So in answer to your question, Don, about 60% of our business is construction progression. About 30% is now solar renewables. We were just in Atlanta. We've been in Virginia, West Virginia, Houston. Wow. 3 other states I can't even remember since January, doing renewables for them and design work. And then 10% is TV and production. Like we just did a big thing for Carvana, and then we've done a couple of Netflix things, and then what was the other one? 3 states we went to for secret hotels. So we still do a lot of production, but it's about 10%. It's the nice to have. It really is the cherry and the sprinkles.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get to have a little bit of fun with that.
Are those your most fun jobs? Are the film production jobs?
No.
What are
they? I'm gonna alienate a lot of people out there, but if I have to deal with a fresh new punk ass director, excuse my French, who's 22 years old and thinks his testicles fit in a wheelbarrow, having him tell me how to fly the aircraft and set the settings when I'm a cinematographer by trade and the settings are terrible, that's stressful. I started when it was and it sounds very arrogant, but you turn up with a heavy lift, and the talent and everybody, you were in control. You'd be setting talent, or you'd be setting everything because the drone guy's there and he's taking up half the footage on the set. To now where you're just a means to an end and they think they can do it.
So they've hired you as the expert. How do you handle that confrontation when you know what's right and they're asking you to do another thing?
I have them check, and then what I do is I usually have a small HDR monitor that I use a timestamp on an SD card, and I cast my settings, and I go, are you sure you want 7.2 here? Are you sure you want H.265 because you were asking for 44 HQ? And then you stamp it, and then when the DIT blows you up 3 days later and goes, hey, these don't meet the specs, I go, yeah, the DP signed off on it. That's the only thing you can do, and you do it with humility, and you smile, and you go, I'm going to beat the shit out of you in the bar tonight, let me tell you. And I'm doing this, and they'll go, are you okay? I go, yeah, it's my flying face. But
yeah, Mark and I, we did a production shoot at the Chase Stadium, and that was complicated. It was difficult. We were on a tight timeline, and we had a drone that really wasn't designed to operate indoors because it needed GPS, so we were struggling to get through that. But production work is difficult. It can be difficult. So
yeah, to give you an idea, Don's talking about Marcelo from Saturday Night Live, and there were I want to say 65 people as part of the posse, we'll call it, right? And out of those, only 3 had value. And they've all got an opinion, and they're all standing there on the phones, and they're all like tossing, and you're trying to do it. And Don's doing the flight, and because the stadium roof was open and we've got all this massive interference, I'm like, Don, you're an expert with FPV. Let's handle it like an FPV. But as soon as we moved it into the talent section, it would lock on GPS and then it would start to overreact. So we were struggling to get this fluid shot. And we got it, and Don persevered through it. But there were so many people's opinions, and then people saying, well, you should do this, you should do that. And you just want to turn around and beat him up with a stadium seat. No, that's not how we do it. But you just have to listen to him and politely nod. Okay, yeah, it'll be over soon.
Well, what's actually fun then? What's a fun job for you guys?
To be honest with you, it's going to be construction. for example, just let's take today, right? We're flying through 10-foot pipe. It isn't the flying through the 10-foot pipe, but it's getting the PM excited about his job and how we're visualizing it and having him appreciate that part of it. That's what makes it fun. It's like, hey, and in this particular case, Andrew, I know it's difficult. I know you got fuel costs, but is there any way we could stack these giant 10-foot rings? It's a pipe. They're separated. They're 5 foot wide and 10-foot round. Could we get like 6 or 7 just lined up and then one in movement driving, and then I'll fly the drone through it? And he's like, you can do that. I'm like, I can do whatever you want. He's like, no way, that would be awesome. I'm like, yeah, it would. Can we do it? He's like, yeah, give me 5 minutes. And he's excited, right? It's out of the humdrum. And then you're like, I want to go in the trench and I want to fly into the trench. Is it safe and prudent? We've got the shielding, we've got the benching, we've got all this sort of stuff in place. He's like, yeah, let me check with safety guys. And the safety guys come down and we get it set up. Never thought of that. And you hear his tone and he's like, oh my God, this is exciting. It's 103 degrees. Jesus Christ, this is awesome. And you go,
I have a
why I'm
question.
here.
Are you going into your construction jobs with a cinematic approach to it, or is it always going to be just here's utilitarian? We just need to get a job done.
Hell no, absolutely no. No, if you want utilitarian and boring, then just go get a Polaroid and throw it up in the air. That's
So the content you're making is like video production, like it's going to be used in like their website and a commercial, that type of purpose.
So I would say 75% of the time, no, it isn't, but we always shoot as if it's going to be, because at some point someone's going to come along, and rather than them call up and go, well, why didn't you wish you should have, could have, would have? For example, Don remembers this, the fight. Why is all the footage gray? I go, because we shoot in D-Log or Cine D-like, so that when you do call me for a marketing video, everything blends homogeneously across the months, across the weeks, and we have something that's cinematic and fluid. Owners will call and be angry and go, why are you focusing on the center? It's just dirt. Why did you do a spin around in the dirt and then go up in the air and do a corkscrew and all the rest of it? I go, is that not where the pool will be? Well, yeah, but it's not going to be there for 5 months. I go, yeah, but when we create the time-lapse, the cinematic time-lapse video for you, oh yeah, we took those out of the budget. I go, I know. I'll give you one for free and then you'll put it back in the budget, you know.
Is that something you offered from the very beginning, filming that way, or is it like something you learned along the way of, oh, this would be very useful, or customers are going to want this later on?
No, I took it from the approach, if I'm going to be out there, how are we going to make it as fun and as engaging as possible?
Yeah.
And we meet with the PMs on every job, which is a frustration because they don't have a lot of time. And we go and set up the camera angles. We set up everything to the PDF of what the job site's going to be. And as they're going through it with us, they have a realization. They start to go, oh, wait, I'm visualizing the site differently. Why is he flying directly this way every time? And you're like, well, that's where the porte-cochere is going to be. So when we stack it in post, the porte-cochere is just going to start to come out like molten wax, right? And they're like, oh, yeah, wow. And that's when they start thinking about, hey, Mark, can you come and do the groundbreaking? And hey, Mark, can you do this? And hey, we got a tilt up and we got this, this, and this. And it's, you share your passion with them, and then they get impassioned about what is their 50th housing project. It's pretty rudimentary, right? We put a spark back in. That's the whole idea. So, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Mark, how did you get into all this stuff? How did you get into drones, and then got motivated enough to even start a business around it?
That's a great question. And we don't have 5 hours, even though you tell me we have a lot of time. So I'll make it brief. I was very fortunate and very blessed to be in the mortgage industry for over 23 years. And my shtick with agent partners wasn't, I can get my docs there faster than anybody, I got the lowest interest rates, the usual cheesy stuff. It was, how do I help you build your business? Because I started my career off as a business consultant, buying and selling businesses for a pension fund. That's how I came to America. So I was like, how do I give value to my agent partners? So I got really into tech. Like I was the first guy, if you remember, Blackberries and PDAs. I would actually go into a title office. I'd spend $300 on a Palm 3C. For some of the students listening to it, you're going, "Oh my God, this guy's a dinosaur." And then I would spend $700 on this is another one, PCM CIA slot card adapter with a SCSI adapter to allow it to talk to a projector, so I could beam a 2-foot by 2-foot screen of the Palm C, so I could teach realtors how to get out of another old term, a filofax. There you go. I've aged myself. I'm older than Dom now. But yeah, so we would show them and get into tech because it was a reason to engage with these agents for a long period of time. So when drones came around, and when they first came out, I became very close with Colin Gwynn, if anybody's been around for a long time. He was the original guy who started DJI in America, and he was sending to Wired and Gizmo the Phantom without a camera on it, which, what was the value of it? Well, then we stuck GoPros on it, right? So as I was phasing out of my mortgage practice, because I'd done it for so long, I really wasn't looking for another venture. I was passionate about photography, loved video, was teaching realtors how to use video, how to use SEO, the spoken word, the syntax for the spoken word was finally being SEO'd by Google. So I was showing these value adds. Along comes a drone with a GoPro. Famous story. I got an old video of it. And what happened was that I didn't know to turn on the radio first, turned on the drone. By the time I turned around, the drone was already fired up and was flying up, went up 1,200 feet in the air and then crashed in the tree next to me before I'd even got the radio on. And a realtor friend saw that, told me to send it back to Amazon, which is what I did. And the rest is history because he called me and I went and did a listing. We actually flew through the house. I'm not joking. I had 10 minutes of flight time on this thing. We flew through his garage. He thought it was amazing. We flew through his house. We blew all the dried flowers off his baby grand piano. They went flying. His grandma's pewter picture fell off the wall from the prop wash because I almost crashed into it. And all this guy could do is like, as I'm flying.
That's cool.
And I still have the video. And if you saw the video today, you'd be like, there's no way we'd hire Mark based on that video.
So that one moment kind of like defined your venture that you're in. You were having so much fun, and I think it's those types of moments that really cement a person's role in this industry. Is those epiphany moments.
Sorry, I'm having problems with my super cool camera here. There we go. It's tracking me. It's struggling because I'm so pretty.
If you could go back to the beginning, what would you do differently now with all?
If I went back in time and everything was the same back then, or if I had to start today knowing what I know?
Let's say starting today.
If I had to start today a drone business, I would have to be on a lot of Prozac and I would go into a mental institution because I'd be to do it. No.
Yeah, because
Sorry.
you are a small business, so you know you have very a small business in your organization, so you kind of get pulled in multiple directions all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot. I've spent a lot of time training on AI. I'm looking for the panacea in AI to help me do more with less. Haven't found it yet. Marketing, yeah, it's there. But for what we do in the drone space, like removing the HR complications, removing the financial complications, the things that are time vampires that make me commit 17 hours a day. Yeah, I haven't found it. It's owning any business is difficult. There are many advantages to working for someone. Like you don't have to answer your phone on a weekend. You don't wake up sweating because you've got commitments. If you're a dedicated employee, you still have that work ethic that gives you the commitments, but you don't wake up in a panic going, oh shit, if I choose not to do this, then my guys don't get paid, or I got to deal with the IRS. the implications are far reaching. So I've given my kids the same lecture. They both want to be entrepreneurs. I'm like, you're out of your mind. I've done the math. Here's 150 grand a year job. Be bored out of your brains. Do it for 21 years and you'll actually be a millionaire and you can retire and then go buy your own Starbucks or start your own drone
The
company.
American dream.
The
Right.
American dream. Put your time in first, learn what you don't want to do. But sorry, it's a long answer to a simple question. For me, the biggest challenge was the regulations. I had to become a manned pilot, had to file for a 333 exemption. There I go again, dating myself. People like, 333, what's that? And then you had to get a motion set plan. What's a motion set plan? Oh my God. None of the stuff you have to do now, right? I just got a waiver for Luke Air Force Base 0 on the actual base property. It took 32 days with a safety justification because I've been doing it and I'm a pilot and I put in my glide scope and I put in all the deconfliction stuff, all the things I've learned. Because the challenges your students are going to have is when they apply for these waivers, there is no pushback to tell you why you got denied. And Don will tell you on some of my waivers, I put in and going, I'm going to repeat this every 5 minutes until someone tells me why I'm screwing it up, because you actually approved me and in this location with this approval number closer and higher, and yet you keep denying this one. Could someone tell me? And eventually the phone will ring, right? But those were the big challenges in the beginning because it took so long. Nobody understood what was going on, the safety part of it. So I've had to go back in time and start all over again. Now I know all the safety stuff, so that would be a lot easier. I'd probably be a couple of years ahead of where I am today.
Yeah, the regulations seem to be the biggest setback in this industry as far as how to get approvals, because the FAA likes to move a little bit slower than the industry does. So I concur with you on that. For the students, for anyone really looking to get into this industry, kind of branch into their own little mechanism inside of this industry, what kind of advice could you give someone that wants to maybe potentially start a business or get into this industry and have a little niche to them? Like, what would you tell them?
That's a good question, Don. I think it boils down to some simple core values and non-negotiables. One, having 6 months of reserves financially, so you don't make desperate decisions. Because right now in the industry, I don't care what market you're in, I don't care how well established you are, there is a race to the bottom for price. And that price is predicated on, oh my God, I just got a phone call to go do a house shoot and it's a 2-hour drive away. Let's take Drone Hive or Drone Up or whatever the hell they're called now. And you see the pricing people are willing to take. It's predicated on, oh my God, I got to make my car payment. You would make better decisions and have more profitable business if you had 6 months of reserves. I'd also tell you categorically, without a doubt, commit to one aircraft. Monopolize that aircraft for the industries you want to be in and have a second one as a backup. So when you show up, you don't have a firmware update or whatever. So if you're going to buy a Mavic 3 Enterprise, buy 2. Like I taught you, Don, in this game, 2 is 1, 1 is none.
Yep.
Right. And I'll give you a really good example of that. I'm in Atlanta, when was it? A week and a half ago. 5 days straight. What is it? I forget Arizona time. That's 3 hours ahead. 4 a.m. I had to leave the hotel at 3. 4 a.m. to 8. Then upload data. By 12, I'm done. And then I have to be back on site by 2. 2 till 6. There is, we all know the other mapping company out there that's very famous, has the initials DD. They hire pilots. And this pilot is out there and he's back on his 4th day. And he's back using a Mavic 3 on the 4th day, right? And he finally tells me that he gets paid $31 an hour and it's a 5-hour job, but he's back on his 4th day. Why is he back on the 4th day? Because it's raining. He can't fly in the rain. But I'm operating in the rain safely with the correct ratings and everything with a 4E. And I said, dude, it's a spring call. You can get this section done. And he goes, I can't afford for my drone to go down. It's the only piece of equipment I got. So when he landed, I sat down with him and said, if you don't mind, the last time I saw an offer for this type of job, you're probably about $20 an hour. He goes, yeah, you're right. I go, but you've been out here 4 times. So by my math, you're at $3.47 an hour. He goes, well, I hadn't looked at it like that. I'm just working. I go, yeah, well, go buy another drone. You could take that risk, be done, and moving on and doing something else.
Yeah.
So for me, that was pivotal because I'm always preaching that to people to explain, because they're always calling for advice, which I'm happy to give. But it was the first time here I am out of state watching this poor guy struggle. I mean, he was really struggling, and he's a super nice guy. But he couldn't perform. So having more equipment than you need and having 6 months of reserves. And then you're like, well, what's 6 months of reserves? I go, enough food and beverage and your car payment, your insurance, your drone insurance, everything. You got to have 6 months in the bank, not touched on. And then you'll be successful, because you're not going to make a bad decision or a poor pricing decision, because they will hold you to that price of $200 for a $500 job, right? Because you're chasing the bottom of the market.
Yeah.
Am I talking too much? I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to piggyback on something you said earlier about, I mean, you got into this industry because you enjoy it. You have fun. And I think that's a big part to being successful in this industry, is finding something that you're good at and loving what you do. And I think that's a big element, as well as, like you said, having a 6-month reserve and really, going after the market and figuring out what you're going to be good at.
Yeah. Well, I want to know, it sounds like you learned from the streets. Drones was something you just really enjoyed. You're the thug OG of the drone world. So, how did you educate yourself? What resources did you utilize? Did you have any schooling? Take us through that.
So, I got my pilot's license in 32 days. Because they wanted me to be a man pilot, and because I was working with real estate professionals, I couldn't afford to put them in any exposure. So I was very fortunate to be able to do that. But when we talk about I started pre-Inspire 1, and if people want to see a really cool video that I still make about $250 a month off of, type into YouTube, Inspire 1 crashes on takeoff. Yes, I'm that guy. I had one of the very first ones that took off and flew into the garage across the road, and the person jumping out of the way is actually my wife. And I was at Intradrone, where I wasn't, after being beaten up for like 6 hours in every class I went to, where people were making their suggestions and implications to, oh, look, that stupid woman's doing FPV, flying the drone when it wasn't. I ended up becoming very vocal, we'll just put it that way, in front of 400 people, where I really did lose my shit. And then one of the DJI reps got up on stage and acknowledged that it wasn't my fault, and that it was a technological glitch, and so on and so forth. So I became in the industry a little famous for that. But when it came to education, the manuals did nothing. DJI wasn't where it is today, where we're so familiar with the ecosystem. They add in a spiral or a facade mode. You go, oh yeah, I kind of need to know where I'm looking at, right? This is before crystal skies. Excuse me. So the education, I'm going to tell you 100%, was painful. Though, and I've told other pilots that work for us, I go, why do you insist on deviating from all the workflows and the checklists? I already spent 7 months in 10 degree heat figuring this crap out. If you follow the process line by line, like, for example, you guys are SDI, right? You're training gunsmiths. Very first thing you should do is make sure the weapon is clear. Do not point a weapon unless you intend to kill somebody, and make damn sure there's no bullet in it. Well, the minute somebody puts a bullet in the breech and cocks that weapon, you're firing them. They're done, right? Because you know something's going to happen. Well, the same thing with drones. Drones still have flyaways. They still have anomalies that happen. We had one yesterday with an FPV that just kept on flying. Like, oh, okay, lucky it's going into the tree, but no response, right? So trial and error, everything that I've learned. And I think when Don was with me, I said to him, I said, hey, no one's taught me any of this. I've just learned it through a very painful process. If you find a better way, I'm all yours, mate, because I don't know another way except to poop my pants when it's not working, right? And it was frustrating, especially with the heavy lift and getting the Alexa cables right, and not having enough cables and opening up a bag on set and your talent set and everything. You go, why am I not getting an HDMI signal? But it's a brand new cable. Oh, maybe I should have bought a second brand new cable. So next time I have 4 cables. Don will tell you how many bloody cables I've got. It's like, holy cow, why do you need this many? Because at one point I did, right?
Yeah.
So people starting today, I actually feel sorry for them because they can watch a video and they know how to do something. There isn't a level of unconscious competence, right? Like, any of you been in the military? In the army? Yeah, Don's been in the Navy. So when you do your basic, you got to strip your Beretta down with your eyes closed, and you practice it in the barracks. You have to have unconscious competence when you're in the field, right? Again, I'm going back to the gun part because you guys are at SDI, but in the drone business, you got to be able to close your eyes and know where the drone is. You don't get that from watching the screen, right? You don't get that from wearing FPV goggles. Your depth of field changes. Everything changes. What's it doing? I should hear it by now. Why don't I hear it? Because in the beginning, the technology wasn't reliable. I can't tell you how many battery fires I had in the beginning with the Inspire. Just, wow, it's cool to look at. Why am I looking at my drone burning in front of that? Oh my God, it's burning. You know? So how did I learn? It was gladly forced into me. If you're a student and you want to get in the business, learn from someone that's had the crap beaten out of them because the technology wasn't ready for the mainstream.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you
Don,
right,
you've had the crap beat out of you, right?
yeah, it's been 11 years.
Yeah.
And today I can't tell you how many times having a backup. Like, I'm fat, and it's hard work dragging another drone across the bloody airport. But I take a backup. I've got two brand new 4Es, right? One morning, the same flight, it's programmed, just decides to fly the other way. I'm like, how did it lose GPS? I got GPS, I did compass calibration, I did all the basic stuff. Why is it going the wrong way? And it's at the right point. So you ground it and you get the other one up, and I was able to complete the rest of the 3 days without a glitch. And then when I was done, I could not get it to go back to the original point that it had already been at for 4 hours. So I sent it back, you know? But having the crap beaten out of you allows you to be a little calmer under stress. So
Yeah, and being able to learn from those mistakes that you made is important to progression in this industry. If you don't learn from your mistakes, you'll never progress, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And having checklists and writing them down after you found something new that you're like, oh, maybe it wasn't me. I did everything, but let me check this on the drone, you know? What's going on? So, yeah. Yeah.
Now you have a pretty extensive fleet. I was checking out your website. You
Mhm.
know, do you have a favorite drone that you love to fly, or type, or specific one?
Yeah. People are going to laugh, but it's that little 3-inch, that Don tuned for me. I have a little 3-inch FPV. I can stuff that thing anywhere and do anything I want with it. I love my 5-inch, my 7 inches, the FPV frames. When it comes to utilitarian drones for mapping and all the rest of it, I would tell you it's the Wingtra. That thing, I just never get bored of watching that thing take off and land. Big orange.
Yeah, and it's pretty simple to use, right? Like the interface. I was a
Yeah.
little intimidated when I first flew it because I had never had experience to it. But once I put it up in the air for the first time, I was like, oh, okay. Well, this is super easy to use.
Yeah,
And
I'll
your
have to
technical.
edit in like a picture of it because I only know it because I've seen some of your footage when I was doing some research, but I've seen it at shows before. But that thing is crazy cool looking, so I'll
Yeah.
try to slice it in here for folks who don't know what it is.
So for advice, and as you mentioned redundancy, what would be the first and then second drone you would recommend for someone to start out with?
Let me clarify whether that's FPV or your standard consumer drones. Let's say someone wants to just buy a first drone the first time, and they want to get into the consumer side. What drone would be the
Could
best?
we even go by job, by industry, and like, hey, here's
Yeah.
top 3 industries. Here's that recommended drone for each one.
Better question.
So, as you guys don't have a Canadian address, you can't get the new Mavic 4, which I have coming on Friday. That would be the most utilitarian drone you could have. 100 megapixels, all the other reasons, goes vertical for social. Most people start out in real estate, which I tell you don't start out in real estate, but that's a beast. It's got the Hasselblad codec. You can really do some cool stuff with the footage. So that would be my go-to if I could only have one drone for production, real estate, the marketing videos, all that sort of stuff. Invest the money. That's the one I travel with. I actually travel a lot with the Mini 4 Pro. Challenge with the Mini 4 Pro is the stuff that I want to do. It's just the quality is amazing. You guys can't see that image back there, but yeah, my camera's screwing up. But anyway, I have an image from probably the best shot I've ever taken, and it's of Loch Ness. But the Mini 4 Pro, you can't see it when it's too far away, and it doesn't really handle the wind very well. But
Do you have a picture of the monster or the lake?
the lake,
Oh.
but the monster's in there, I can tell. Yes, I can tell. Yeah, it's a really, really cool shot. And then for the mapping side, it's hard starting out. I mean, it's really, really hard starting out. But I would get a band clone and get a Wingtra. And here's why. You could get away with a DJI M350 and a P1. You're into about the same price point as a Wingtra, but you don't have the level of PPK accuracy and the level of defensible data that you get from a Wingtra and the Sony setup. And by that, if you're starting out, usually you're the scapegoat. They're looking for your data to pick on somebody and go, so the surveyor or the designer or someone's at fault because we got this drone data. You can't mess with the Wingtra drone data, right? I mean, and you're getting at 400 feet, you're getting 0.6 GSD, right? Ground sampling distance. And anybody can work with the export, and the geotagging is flawless. Also in the DJI ecosystem, you've got bigger batteries, you've got shorter flight time, less acres, and you've got the whole perception of the Chinese product, right? But it's a massive barrier to entry. If I had my time over again, and I only knew about the drone industry, the drones, these would be the ones that I would pick. When I was teaching at Embry-Riddle, I'm fortunate as an adjunct to do an exercise with the team. Their capstone project was very simple. These are the requirements for American track. We need a LiDAR system and an aircraft frame to do it in. You can pick whatever aircraft you want, pick whatever LiDAR system you want, but here's the caveat. A rookie student needs to be able to operate it with a small learning curve. And the second criteria is the instrument must be able to be scientifically verified so that you couldn't get sued for bad data. Everyone at Embry-Riddle, the 3 capstone products, came up with the same scanner, yellow scan. Push one button, you're done. The data is amazing. The software is amazing. Everything's perfect about it. And they picked the Trinity Tron. Now we're into $3 million, but they all picked the same one for the same reasons, right? So that for the industry, I would definitely go with the Wingtra for mapping, because I know whatever I produce, I can't get sued over. I can, anybody can get sued, but you know what I'm saying, right? And then the Mavic 4 for your utilitarian, 100 megapixel, best real estate, best low light, great video, all the rest of it. And if you couldn't use a Chinese drone, I'd pick up a Sony Air Peak all day long and just suck up the 11-minute battery time. And that's it. So
The other thing I want to learn about is more about your customers. And I think this would be a roundabout way to give advice to our students. But given your customers, what are 5 things that your customers are challenged with in finding a service like yours?
First one is integrity. Huge. Okay. Integrity isn't something you buy. It's not something you learn. It's something you're born with, and you exhibit it. So when you go in and you hold eye contact and you say, I'm going to do it, they get that sense from you. I can't, it all boils down to sales at the end of the day. I can't stress that enough. Having integrity in the way that you conduct yourself and you handle what they're going to ask you. Because anybody today is going to walk into the same resistance we walk into. We already have a drone pilot. I understand. He's on staff. Yes. So he has vacations. Yeah. Okay. We work 7 days a week. We get you the data in time for your OAC meetings, and we will deliver. And if we can't, we're going to let you know and ahead of time so your in-house guy can do it. But we do this every single day. We've got 26,000 registered flights. So we know what we're doing. We're not practicing, and we're not showing up and talking to the buddies on the job site. We're getting stuff done by the time he's decided it's lunchtime, and they will appreciate that. That's the first part. Not over-promising. Definitely not saying, yes, I can do it automatically without knowing it. You don't use your customers as beta testers. If you, like when we did bathymetrics for a client and we had Lightwave come out, I flew to Lightwave and paid Lightwave to go through every single thing before I put them in front of the client and knew that it could do the job. And then I got the client to pay them. I didn't make a penny because I wasn't competent enough to understand the system, right? So never overpromise or use your clients as a tool for learning. You can't. Your reputation's everything, right? And when we, as, let's be honest, the genealogy of where we are in the industry, we're between amoeba and dog poo. We're drone pilots because everyone can fly a drone, right? They're looking for a scapegoat. And you better have your stuff dialed in. You better have unconscious competence. You better be able to take that beating on the phone when engineers are calling you up because they're threatened by the data and it's exposing that there is a problem, that the reason the job site is 2 feet off, right? These aren't conversations you want to go in and go, oh yeah, my drone with photogrammetry and Pix 4D, I can fix any job site. Yeah. No. If you can't talk geoids, ellipsoids, epochs, and understand why they localize that and why there's a translation factor of 0.74, and you can't talk that language and show the surveyor where there might be an error when he's an expert and you're just the drone dude, no, don't even go down that path. That's the problem. I'm supposed to do 5, right? I'm on 2. 3, charge a fair price. You got to understand your business. You got to understand the fuel, the vehicle, the insurance, what it costs, your depreciation rate on your vehicles, all the rest of it. Every 3 months, we go through an hourly analysis of what it has cost the company so far, including all the new equipment we bought and what I need to be charging at an hourly rate. I can tell you right now, it costs me $111.33 to operate my company per hour on a 24-hour period, 7 days a week. That's what I must get because of the huge investment that I have to have in equipment. My insurance went up $12,900 last year for all of our drones, not because we had an accident. We've never had a claim, ever. And we've had accidents. We've had where I personally tripped over a Wingtra and crushed it. My fat ass fell on it. I'm not filing an insurance claim for it, right? But because of the claims of the industry, and the most common industry claim is theft, right? of these drones, it's pushing the insurance rate up. So you have to understand your business, you have to understand your pricing model, and make a decision based on a business decision, and hold eye contact and justify it. And for the help of the listeners, we had a client last week that we had a price of $350 in a contract, and they came back and wanted to negotiate $50 off of it. And you're like, okay, I'm going to bite my lip. It's $50. I already know this company's $1.3 million over budget. It's $50. So when the PM called me, I go, man, you're really lucky. You must have some really good staff on hand to give you the time to talk to me about saving $50. And he's like, you sound a little sarcastic, Mark. I go, no, I'm just trying to understand why the $50 is so important. Can I give you the hard hat back he gave me? Because that's like $25. And he's like, where are you going with this, Mark? And I said, well, you still have a PPE COVID budget, right? He's like, yeah. Just take the $50 out of the COVID budget. You see value in what we're doing, but it's $50. He goes, yeah, it was $50. I go, that's my entire profit on the job. Let me explain. It takes the pilot this far to get out to Buckeye. It takes the pilot this far to get time to get back. It takes this long to back up the data. It's a 22-acre site. You're getting $150 off of MSRP because we have 6 sites with you. Do you see where I'm going with this? My insurance per hour. This job is a 3.5-hour job by the time you get the data. I am charging a fair and equitable price. And he's like, okay. I'm like, John, thanks. But can we not have this discussion again? Because I just spent $100 on the conversation, and you're being funny about it, but they get the message, right? So you can't just cave in. You got it. It's $50. The profit on that job is legitimately $57. Yeah. We do it because we're servicing the others. We do it to make sure that my pilots are getting paid.
So know your stuff and get paid what you're worth.
Yeah, get paid what you're worth. Yeah. And when we quoted that price, that was 18 months ago, and the job site was 2 acres. And it was passing a pilot's house. So give the guy a discount. And there wasn't a specific time. Now there's a specific time. Now there's an AOC meeting. Now we have to upload into Procore instead of Dropbox. So it takes an extra 30 minutes. But it's like, nah, I don't want it.
All right. And your last 2 challenges that customers in your industry face.
Thank you. Getting the information, being serviced well in terms of, there's a reason they're asking you for the information. They can't do it internally. And if they can, they are tied up what I call the legacy issues. Are the guys on PTO? We've got vacation. We can't pay overtime. They're already doing a full-time job doing what they're doing as assistant PM or superintendent, whatever it is. Right? And then how do they know that the level of data they're getting for them to make the decisions on is competency? Right? For example, on TSMC, we've been flying that every single week for 2.5 years. Everything is recorded with the drone for billables. Absolutely fascinating that they use it. Nothing can move without the drone data being signed off on, right? You better make sure that shit's right.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge for them. And the last one is the quality. It's absolute the quality. I can't tell you how many times I get stuff sent to me going, well, we'd like you to replicate this. And I have to call them up tongue in cheek and go, so you want me to downgrade my footage and you want it to be all jerky and shaky and look terrible? And they go, ha, that's not very nice. That's my cousin. I go, I'm sorry to be offensive, but your email specifically states you need to replicate this footage. You mean the flight path? You mean what we're filming? Or the fact that it looks like an ant flew it on crack in a Red Bull? Right? I mean, some of the stuff we see in the pictures. Oh my God. You guys, anybody listening to this, go learn the rule of thirds. And Don, what was it? You can crop it in, but you can't
crop out.
Yeah. Oh, look at that house. It's missing half the front
rule
yard.
of thirds is good good advice, especially
That's what I tell my wife when I'm taking her pictures. I'm just like, hey, I'm going to take a big picture, crop it down what you want. I'm out of here. You know,
Yep.
I thought
or
you were
else
going
I'm there
somewhere else.
18 pictures deep.
Right.
Just
Right.
like, hey, can you just take a selfie or something?
Yeah.
So good
Yeah.
thing she
It's
doesn't watch this stuff. But okay,
yeah.
so let's wrap it up. We always like to wrap it up with some quick fires, quick fire
Okay.
questions, short answers. I'm just gonna go. Are you ready, Mark Taylor? Okay,
Sorry, breakfast. Yeah. Go
do
for
what
it.
you got to do. Fixed wing or multi rotor?
Fixed wing.
Most ridiculous thing you've had to film?
Oh crap. There's so many. Um, a gender reveal party where they actually got the gender wrong.
Oh, geez.
It's pretty
What?
funny.
Well, we kind of talked about this a bunch, but what's one thing clients never understand about drone work?
The amount of time it takes to get shit done. Yep.
Most expensive mistake?
God, there's been a lot. Okay. Doing the build it, they will come philosophy. I would tell you, I've changed my philosophy this year finally. I've always wanted to have my own equipment for everything so that I can control it and know that I have it at any given time and I know the standard with which it's performing. But that makes it very expensive. I would rent it. Don't buy until you have enough business, and then take that piece of equipment and go do a roadshow with it and take it to your clients. When we started out in the business, there was so much excitement about drones. Oh, look at the Inspire One. It's cool. It's white. Looks like Skynet. And you take it around and you get business from it, right? Then the RTK 210 came out. Now we're talking serious stuff. The Wingtra, we would do that. Well, we already had jobs for it. They still didn't pay. The ROI wasn't there because I believe in this world, the barrier to entry is doubling every 4 months. They're coming out with something new that makes it worthwhile, right? We've got SLAM LiDAR, we've got yellow scan LiDAR, we've got every LiDAR, we've got every photogrammetry piece of equipment. And that's something, and I'm going to go on a tangent, forgive me. I want to go on a tangent for a second. Just because they tell you that the drone can fly further, faster, you can't see it, stay in the air longer, and can give you 500 million megapixels is irrelevant. If you have a Wingtra, that's more than you will ever need, because until they change the photogrammetry and survey standards of 1-foot contours, we're already delivering 0.62-inch contours. We are already descaling the data. We're already smoothing out the contours. And if you're going to tell me that you can have a drone that can fly for 3 hours, I'm going to tell you I don't want it. 2 reasons. What's Don going to do in 100-degree heat? He's going to play Pokemon. He's going to go to sleep, right? Or the data is going to be corrupt halfway through the flight. You're not going to know until the end. So I would rather have a drone that flies under an hour, that's tolerable physically and mentally. You can check the data, you can back it up, you can be up in the air. I have done 20,000 acre sites with 2 drones, no problems, right? So I know I went on a tangent, but don't get trapped into the whole, we could fly faster, longer, and take better images. We don't need them.
All right.
There you go. I'm off my soapbox.
All right. Last 2. Favorite way to unwind after a job?
Copious amounts of bourbon.
There we go. I've got that on
Yeah.
the other wall over there. And then what drone and setup do you wish you could justify buying?
Okay, here's an arrogant statement. There isn't, because I have it. I have it.
He has them all.
That is very arrogant, but it's true. So,
Yeah.
can't fault you there. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, thank you for all your time today, your insight, your conversation. It was very entertaining. And for a guy who's not a drone guy, but is slowly becoming a drone guy, like you said, I just want to have fun. So, if you can't make it fun, I don't want to do it. But
Right.
the conversation was very entertaining. Guys, you guys got anything else?
I just wanted to add for the students or people listening to this podcast, if you're looking to get into the industry, find something that you're passionate about. It's gonna guide you the whole way.
All right. And Chief Geek, if somebody wants to hire Extreme Aerial Productions, where do they go? What can they find?
ExtremeAerialProductions.com. That's it. Really easy.
Perfect.
Yep.
And then if you want to learn more about our online programs here in the UAS space, go to sdi.edu today, hit request information, talk to an admissions rep, find some stuff out, turn into these two guys, and have fun with your drones. But that'll be today's The Flight Path. For Mark, Steve, Don, I've been Christian. Everybody wave bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.